welcome back to another Minisode of another gaming podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steven the Laggy Gamer, and I'm joined with the one and only Dustin Christ. What's going on, Dustin?
Hey everybody.
You sounded, well, I'm kind of depressed too, because the game we're going to be talking about right now, doing the Minisode on, is Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and the servers are down, so I'm a little sad, especially after
Down
we
for
had planned.
maintenance. Let's they're working on the North American server issue,
Yes,
which
they
was
are
a
just fixing problems, so.
an atrocity.
Oh, it was horrible. But we can get into all that,
Yeah.
of the ups and downs of what this game's been going through so far. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14, and I guess we shouldn't start getting to the game yet. Let's go over, Dustin. What drew you? Were you going to get this game just because it was another? You didn't get Final Fantasy 11, did you?
No, I never did.
Okay, so what drove you to wanting to try out 14 if you hadn't done an MMO before, and your history of MMOs if you have one for the people to know about?
The history of MMOs is very brief. Really, it was only two of them. I tried Ragnarok Odyssey for a while. Couldn't really get into it, and then I figured the one that was going to get me into it was Star Trek Online, and I started playing that right when the game came out, and a new version of Skype Recorder is available. No, we're not going to worry about that right now. And then I got on Star Trek Online right when it first started, and it was kind of a messy game when it first started. It might be a lot better now because they've kind of changed how they're doing it with like making it more episodic and more like a TV show type of thing. But still couldn't get into it. It was just no one I knew was playing it, and I think that was sort of the big push for 14. Was when 14 was first released, I had no interest because I heard of it just kind of rumors about how bad it was.
Yeah, that
And
first release.
yeah,
Boy.
and I kind of wish I would have played it just so I knew like how much better this is, because I guess it's like leaps and bounds better. But people, we all started talking about it, and kind of the buzz was that it was going to be a lot better. And then I think the thing that really sold me was when Johnny did his video about the beta. Happy Console Gamer. He did his video about the beta, and he's like, I'm not buying it because it's that good. And Johnny was really big into Final Fantasy XI, and for him to say that kind of was like, all right, maybe I need to check this out. And then you guys started talking about getting it, and it all went downhill from there.
I was gonna say, everyone knows my history being a WoW lover and all. Back in the day, I played Guild Wars 2, Neverwinter, Ragnarok Odyssey like you, Dustin. Wanted to do some Star Trek, but I didn't do or Trek, sorry, but didn't get into it. But man, same with me. Final Fantasy 14. It wasn't Johnny who sold me, but that helped because I remember, like in the chat, we would talk about it, and I was still on the fence. I mean, a week or two before release date, because I know I started school back up. I did not want to get sucked into an MMO to take my time, especially away from other games. But yeah, I went and everyone saw, got that collector's edition for pretty much just a standard price. I paid $40 for that, and that was like icing on the cake with it. So I dived into it, and I think we are safe to say that we're enjoying it, right? We're having a pretty good time in it.
You know what? I absolutely hate this game. It's just awful.
Yeah, we're not going to play anymore.
No, I'm surprised at how much I am. But it's funny because Steven's probably listening to me bitch and complain about not getting the controls down quite yet. But I am actually having a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll touch on all the fun little stories here of what we've ventured into so far in the game. And I guess what we can start with is if you guys are coming in here to try to want to know some story about Final Fantasy 14. We're not going to really help you on that, Dustin, are we? Unless you went back and watched some of the stuff.
I have not yet gone back and watched the cutscenes. There is apparently a really good story that goes along with this game. Mm-hmm. But whenever Steven and I play, it's like, all right, let's go to do the next quest. And, we don't really, we just blur through the cutscenes. And probably not the best way to play an RPG. And this is probably going to have like one of the best Final Fantasy stories ever, knowing our luck. But we just kind of,
Well, luckily there's a system put in place in this game to where you can go back to an inn and you can rest. And at that place where you rest at, you can actually watch like all the cutscenes to the main storyline. Because this game has a main storyline, and of course it branches into smaller ones throughout all the towns and stuff you do quests in. but there is a main central storyline here, like Dustin was saying. If you're a Final Fantasy lover, then you were talking about, Dustin, how this seems closer to any of the old school Final Fantasies
Yeah.
that have come out ever recently. Well, I guess then Dimensions on the iPad, but this seems to be taking it like as far as storylines and setting and stuff and characters you're using seems
Yeah.
to match pretty much with the old school stuff.
It's the most Final Fantasy a game has felt in this series since Final Fantasy IX.
Wow, see, that's from the words of mouth of Dustin Christ.
I'll probably
That's
someone's probably going to lambaste me for that. I know it, but
yeah. But hey,
the cyberpunk and the steam. Well, the steampunk was in six, but
hmm
all the futuristic stuff they're doing with Final Fantasy now, it just doesn't feel Final Fantasy to me. But this, with people running around in robes and that kind of stuff, it just if in crystals, there's crystals, play a very important part of the
hmm
game. It just feels more like
Materia.
yeah, it feels more like Final Fantasy than a lot of the recent games have been.
I do know that this game takes place after the original Final Fantasy 14, though. Hence why it's called A Realm Reborn. And there was a DVD that came with or a Blu-ray that came with the collector's edition with about a 20-minute video explaining it. And I won't fill you in on all that, but it does take place after the first 14, though. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a continuation to it. But at the same time, I guess it really doesn't matter if you played it.
No, because you get all that storyline in that one initial cutscene. So.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's
but
kind of interesting that they did that instead of just. I guess it's something like they couldn't. The game was like so far gone that they couldn't really do anything with it, so they had to like basically rebuild it from the ground up.
yeah. That's what he was saying in the interview, that there was nothing they could really save. They saved about 5% of it. I'm wondering if that was just the story part that they saved.
Yeah, probably.
Then they redid everything else. So
But I've heard some like the game wasn't a total loss because I've heard some of the music from Final Fantasy 14, the first version, and the music was actually pretty good.
well, the music so far in this game, I think it's been great. Like some of the areas we've been in, the main town me and Dustin starred in, New Grandia. I'm like humming that music all the time from that stupid town
Yeah.
because we're always in it a lot. And there are some good tracks to the places. The small dose of the game we've got to see so far, stuff has sounded pretty good. I will say that. So I don't know if it carried over from the first one or not, but if it did, then hurrah for that.
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting to see like the music really open up because one of my favorite pieces of Final Fantasy music is actually Distant Worlds from Final Fantasy XI, and I was kind of hoping they would play it at when I went to Distant Worlds, but of course they didn't have a chorus there to sing the song properly. But man, if you haven't listened to the song Distant Worlds from Final Fantasy XI, it's pretty friggin' awesome.
I was supposed to say I've been getting most of my sound from Dustin playing actually, because when we play at nighttime, and I try to keep the volume all the way down on TV so I don't wake up my boy. And I'm just listening to Dustin on a headset, but he's got his cranked up enough at his house where I can catch all the music and everything. So at least
Yeah.
I am still getting to hear it.
It's like we're sharing earbuds.
Exactly, because he's got, I don't know what he's got over there, but this headset picks up fantastic and trying
It's
to get
You know
all
what
the
it is?
sounds.
It's just the earbuds that come with an iPhone. It's the
Yep,
iPhone
see,
5 earbuds. Earbuds, yeah.
they're awesome. But after I take say Dr. Pepper, let's dive into it. So, what's Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn? Well, of course, we've been talking about it's an MMO, and basically how it starts off is you start off at the screen where you create your character, which I think we spend a good amount of time creating our characters. You know, that's a character you're going to keep throughout this game.
I had to do it twice because it errored.
Yeah, right when we're about to load in, I'm sitting there
Yeah.
anxiously awaiting Dustin to come in the game, and he gets knocked out of the server. So, but there's different classes you can pick through, such as what we got. I'm playing a archer right now. Dustin, you're conjurer. I believe
Yeah.
that's the correct term. They have lancers starting off, which are like from four is what I always remember lancers from dragoons. What else we got? Gladiators, and is there another class starting off to pick from? I want
There,
to say there's a fifth one.
it's the isn't it the I can never say that word, but it starts with a T.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's like the precursor class to Black Mage.
Terminology, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Can never
it's
say.
one of the. It's another mage type class.
Yeah.
So you start off with these main jobs or classes at first. Some are disciples of war, others are labeled disciples of magic. And when you get into the game, when you reach certain levels, you actually open up the ability to pick up another job. So, Dustin, what was your goal going for? You can inform everyone the type of character you're going for in this game.
Um, well, I think it's at level 30. I get
Hmm.
to unlock White Mage, and that's where I'm going right now. It's just to make a straight healer class because it seems to be working out very well to get us into dungeons.
Yeah,
So, aside
I
from
think.
other difficulties once we get into the dungeons, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
But in order to do his White Mage, you get to 30. He also has to level up Arcanist. I think you got to level that up to 15.
Yeah.
So you have to level up these other jobs, which unlocks yet another job, like his White Mage class. And there's other jobs like that, like to get Dragoon, Black Mage. I'm going for a Bard. That's more of a support class type of buff character who puts, I guess, damage enhancements and stuff like that on you. But I have to level up other jobs in order to do that. But the game makes it really easy to pick up these new jobs. All you have to do is walk to another new guild after you hit level 10 and say, hey, I want to join this guild and pick up the job. And you can pretty much restart your character from scratch again if you're not happy with what you pick. But I'd say so far, for the most part, I'm really enjoying my class. Dustin, I would assume you're enjoying yours, but I know dungeons are different stories.
Yeah, I'm
But
enjoying it, but yeah, it gets a little hectic
it
when you're
does.
when you're
And
in the dungeon. Yeah.
there are times where I've wanted to re-roll going to a tame, and just to help us better in dungeons, we'll get
And there's
into
times
those stories a little bit later
I wish
too.
times I wish I had a keyboard so I can yell at certain people, but
Do you have a beverage nearby? Do you need some
well, I
liquid?
when I was out with Duncan before we started recording, I made the idiot decision to do a little bit of running, and I hadn't run in a couple of days, so I'm like a little phlegmy right now.
Okay.
But that's okay. We make the sacrifice for the podcast.
But basically, all it is you start off in this game level 1, and you're just trying to get up to level 50. I think is the max level. And so far, I'd say the questing has been it's pretty much fetch quest stuff here and there. You kill an enemy here, about 5 or 6 of them, get some drops, go back, turn it in, and or go talk to somebody. It's been pretty simple stuff like that. But I don't know. There's just something about it. It doesn't get boring to me. Maybe it's the environments that are around me, or just how everything's so open, the music, or I think it's mainly because I'm playing with a friend and playing with someone I know. It's just so much fun going in there and continuing to do it. What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised at how much I'm taking to this game because usually I'm not big into these types of games. But yeah, I I'm kind of straddling the line against like wanting to play it in my off time when you're not playing as well,
Yeah.
with wanting to throw in some of these other games in. So it's kind of a weird balancing act I'm trying to do here. But I'm actually really surprised at how much I'm taking to it.
And since he said that, like me and Dustin we're trying to stick close together so we can play through, level up, and do dungeons together. But I think the game does, if Dustin ever wants to kind of do some stuff on his own on some days, they incorporate things in this game to where if we leave off on the same quest somewhere and want to pick up, Dustin can go off and do some other different type of things like the hunting logs where he can go around to kill certain animals and creatures in the game to gain experience. And not just little experience, we're talking about tons of experience you can get from completing these logs. There's these things called Levette quests that you can just repeat every day, constantly, over and over to get experience. So there's multiple ways you can walk around a map and get experience. So if you ever wanted to, like, and I actually did that today while Dustin was at work, I went ahead and did some of that stuff just to level up some and prepare for a boss fight that me and Dustin desperately need to get through so I can get my mount. That's the reason we've been rushing through this stuff, Dustin, because I
Yeah,
want my mount.
I know. Like you guys don't
That's it.
understand. Like every time we play, he's like, "I want to get my mount. I need to get my mount. We need to do this to get my mount." I'm like, "I just want to get the damn thing, so he'll shut up."
So I'll shut up about it. And we're right on the cusp of getting it. But I mean, we can go into a story time now because I'll say there at level there's story quests, and the story quest is what you need to complete to unlock our mounts and stuff. And it's around level 20 where we get a long series of quests that really then start to open up the game to you after you join a champion guild. There's 3 grand champion factions that you have to join. But before that, you have to beat a very well known summon and boss in a lot of Final Fantasy games, and that's the boss. What, Dustin?
Ifrit.
Ifrit. And
Uh,
Ifrit, how long did we battle him the other day?
I don't know. It was probably about a good hour.
Oh, I think it was longer than that.
Is it longer than that?
Yeah, I
You
think
lose
we
track of time
were.
when you play this.
Oh, you lose track of time easily. We had a fun gaming session where it was Labor Day. Well, it was Sunday night, and Labor Day was the next day, Monday. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna pound this thing all night long, see how much we can get done. So I want to say we started around 9 o'clock, and we played till about 2:30 in the morning.
It was like 2:45 when we.
2:45, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say we started doing that boss fight around 12:15
You
ish.
think it was that long?
It was that long, that many
Jeez.
tries, and then we got
Well,
locked out for 15 minutes. So,
yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah.
mhm. But anyways, long story short, uh, these dungeons do a cool thing where you have to be a certain level to get into the dungeons. And this isn't a dungeon. This is just a straight up boss fight it puts you in. Me and Dustin are in a party, so we enter into a dungeon finder where it puts me and him in this queue or queue. Sorry, Dustin, a queue to match us up with another like a tank and another damage dealer to do a dungeon. Because in this game so far, the dungeons only take four party members: a tank, a healer, and two damage dealers. And we get in this quay and pretty much instantly get put in the dungeon because Dustin being a healer, it's like a godsend from the heavens. We always get in the dungeons really fast. But we get in this dungeon. We're over the level for it. You only got to be level 20. We're 21, so I'm thinking we're gonna get it in the first go. Unfortunately, that's where problems happen. And since Dustin's a healer, I want you guys to experience things from his point of view because I'm just an archer. I'm just sitting around plucking things and yelling at a bad tank.
Yeah.
Dustin, what was the experience
Uh,
like?
well,
Because we
yeah.
go ahead.
Let me just preface it this way, because before this dungeon, this boss fight, we had done two previous dungeons.
We've done three. We did
Well,
three, yeah.
but one of them was very, it was very cut and dry. I
Yeah.
thought, but we had a little
Good
situation. I
good
had a little,
training dungeons. They
yeah,
these dungeons do good. They start you off mandatory dungeons the first
yeah.
three, like really teaching you the ropes and showing you how to do it. They do a good job at that. But yeah, go ahead, Dustin. He had a bad
So
experience.
I had a bad experience. So anyway, in the first dungeon, it's the first training dungeon. I'm sort of getting my sea legs at doing this, and I am trying to help out, dealing some damage and healing as well. Well, we had a dickhead mage with us who basically started screaming at me over the little chat, the little keyboard chat, that I need to stop trying to deal damage and just focus on healing. So I was like, all right. So I stopped and I just focused on healing for the rest of the dungeon. So we finished that dungeon out, do fine.
Yeah.
Go into the next dungeon. And again, a mage. Like, if we have a mage in our party from this point forward, I'm just going to assume the guy's a dickhead.
Well, we'll stop right there. So the first dungeon, this guy told him to stop dealing damage, which I mean, it did work in the long run because it just took longer to kill things, but it worked.
Yeah.
How fun was it spamming cure for about
Basically,
20
yeah.
minutes?
All I did was just hold down the R2 button to keep my hotbar up, and then just keep pressing triangle to heal the tank, and occasionally pressing a different button to cast Medica.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was fine. And sometimes in the boss battles, because everyone's kind of getting hit, it's kind of a fun challenge.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's just like, all right, I get my role. I'm just.
Yeah.
It seems like the healer and the tank have like no fun because they have very specific roles that they have to do. Whereas
Yeah.
like the damage dealers are like, hey, I get to do all this damage. Look at me.
Yeah, we have no worries. We don't have to worry about anything except trying to kill enemies.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys have less fun at the beginning because it's tougher for your classes to function,
Right.
really, or it's like a little easier for you. But a tank,
Well,
it's kind of tough. But later on, oh, you're gonna have fun in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
But go, Kate. Continue.
So anyway, we go into the second cave, and
Second dungeon.
well, whatever.
Second dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, they just want me to heal, so I'm just going to heal. So here I am, just constantly spamming heal, Medico whenever other people get hit, and that kind of thing. And the mage that's with us, sorry, my throat's starting to fuck up now.
Need to grab some water or something?
No, I'm fine. I got
Okay.
I got beer next to me.
All right.
But this mage starts, complaining over the thing that I'm causing aggro because I'm spamming the heal spells, and it's just
Hmm.
like it's like a situation of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway,
Here I am just shooting arrows, minding my own
yeah.
business.
So we go into this next cave, and I'm like, all right, I feel like I pretty much got my roll down. I know what to do, and for the most part, I feel like I do a pretty good job trying to keep everybody alive.
Yeah.
And I do a good job of keeping everybody alive when those people do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I.e., we got stuck with a tank who basically it was his first time playing the game.
And I'm stopping Dustin again because in the, like I said, the first dungeon, everything went pretty well. Our second type of dungeon we did, things went okay. That's when we had our first boss fight where us as a range class had to kind of interact with some items to make the fight easier. If no one's playing it, I won't try to say anything because you won't understand what I'm saying. But if we didn't interact with these vents or certain items during this final boss fight, more ads were going to spawn, making it more chaotic. I'm sitting there telling people what we need to do, and the
Oh,
douche mage who was with us like isn't catching anything, I don't think. And then finally, during the middle of the boss fight, he pretty much repeats what I said, and I'm like, "That's what I've been saying from the beginning. Like, you gotta pay attention. I've been saying this stuff." But we eventually beat that fight, and I think that mage also told Dustin, "Yeah, we're doing okay if he wasn't spamming Medica all the time with like a stupid face that he made
yeah.
afterwards," which Dustin was doing great in that dungeon. And just a tank, it's tough for them to hold aggro in any dungeon games through the first few levels because they don't have any spells. Then the third dungeon we did okay. That was when we were fighting those rock guys or whatever. But the Ifrit battle, you can continue now. That's where this
Yeah.
3 hours pretty much of our night got wasted.
So it's me, Steven, a lancer.
Well, the first time it was an archer, wasn't our
First time it was an archer, yeah,
first attempt.
and a tank.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't remember what happened the first time. I don't remember where that went wrong because I got so frustrated the second time. I think
The
I just
first time the
blanked.
tank wasn't listening to me because there was a during this Ifrit fight,
Oh yeah.
he summons, and when he gets to about 50% health, he summons a thing called a nail. It just looks like a ring of fire sitting in the middle of the map, and you have to kill that. And if you don't, Ifrit will pretty much launch into the sky. He'll do a move called Hellfire, wiping out your whole party. So you have to make sure you kill this ad that he spawns. So we'd all be attacking it to take it down, and it just wasn't working. So I told the tank, "You need to help us kill this ad." And he just would not turn and help us kill the ad. I think we tried it 4 times after we learned we had to do that, and he was not listening. And I don't. We've mentioned it on our channels. We're playing on the Japanese server Ultima because of the problems that we'll get into with the North American servers. And like, I didn't realize this guy could have been Japanese, and he doesn't know what I'm typing out. But still, it's we left that group, and we got put in a 15-minute timeout for leaving.
Yeah.
So that was about an hour and a half of battling. Then 15-minute timeout. Then we get put in this lovely second group.
Yeah.
Which was a Lancer, which was a very good Lancer.
Yeah.
I give him props.
Yeah. So we're in this group, and essentially one of the strategies that we need to do is we need to keep Ifrit looking towards the barrier because it's a circle that we're in. We're in a
Ring
big
of Fire.
circle.
We're in.
Ring of Fire, a burning ring of fire, and he needs to keep him towards the edge, facing the edge, so we can stand behind Ifrit and just kind of wail and heal. He was not doing
Also,
that.
note first big. I think this was the first big healing challenge for Dustin too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on.
A lot
in
of
this fight for him.
A lot of AoE stuff and just yeah. So the tank, instead of planting in one spot and just letting me focus on him, is like constantly circling around Ifrit and constantly putting his like fire breath
In other people's ways.
in other people's faces instead of taking it himself. And like I can't type anything because I don't have a keyboard. Steven has a keyboard, and it's a good thing I don't have a keyboard because I would be really fucking rude in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because the stuff I was yelling, I was starting to think Steven might be getting annoyed with me because I was just yelling like,
Oh, it's so much fun, people.
yeah,
With I wish we could record like live. It'd probably look stupid without seeing what was going on, though. If
yeah.
we had a way to just like Skype the conversations, because we Skype every time we play. Just the things that come out of Dustin's mouth sometimes. He gets so pissed. Even I get mad, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
like smooth guy, but I get frustrated. I was frustrated too at this guy.
So that this is problem one, that he's just not focusing Ifrit's attacks in a certain direction. And Steven's yelling at him to do it on his keyboard. The Lancer's yelling at him to do it on the keyboard, and he's just not doing it. We keep dying and keep dying and keep dying.
Mhm.
So finally, we get through to him, and he goes, "Okay," and he starts doing it. And so Steven and the Lancer start wailing on Ifrit, and things are looking good. And then all of a sudden, Steven and the Lancer start drawing aggro, and like the tank is like doing nothing to get it back. So this is where things started to go incredibly south.
Yeah.
Because Steven, or someone, I think the Lancer said, "You need to draw aggro."
He said he kept telling me you need to taunt. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to taunt. And then the tank responded, "How?" Question mark.
Yeah.
And we're like,
I couldn't believe that. Jaw dropping.
yeah, like Steve and I were yelling at the screen like this entire time, and then like when that came across, it was silence.
Like, you are a tank. You
Yeah.
should know the role you chose.
And especially
You
by
should know the moves you have. Yeah, especially by this time.
that point in the game, you should have an understanding of, because I mean, this is my first MMO too, but by
Yeah.
that point in time, I understand kind of what I'm supposed to do.
And he's already done the 3 mandatory dungeons. He's had to have, or he wouldn't have been at that point.
Right.
So he's had to have done some taking.
So they start
Ugh.
kind of schooling him through it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So we get, kind of a rhythm going again, but there's still, I mean, there's this attack he does, that Ifrit does, where he basically causes the floor to explode, and it just seems to like always. I think it's if you stand still too long, it just kind of forms under you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm understanding. But I'm sitting there trying to heal the tank, who's basically, he's like the spongiest tank I've seen up to this point. It's like one hit like would take off like half of his health, and I'm like trying to heal him and then heal everybody else with the AOE stuff, and it's just not working. Finally we start getting the nail up, and then we have to deal with the whole thing of trying to get the tank to fight the nail.
Yeah.
And there was one time where it's like looked like we were actually going to do it.
We got so close
And
to
I can't remember
him.
I can't remember what happened, but something stupid happened.
We got him pretty far down, and then it was me and the Lancer still alive, and I thought we might have had it at first.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Okay.
But it got to a point where, like Dustin said, we were attacking the nail, and we were doing good at getting to at least the second phase of this fight. But then during the second phase, like Dustin would said, the Ifrit gets new moves, the floor starts bubbling in places, you gotta move. Sometimes I don't think the tank was moving out of the stuff and it would sit in it. And that just makes it tough on Dustin as a healer. Like, he can't keep up with stupidity.
It's like
you got to think.
He was playing absolutely no defense whatsoever. I mean, it's very clear that it was his first game doing this, and it got to the point that, surprisingly, out of the two of us, Steven did one of the most rudest things imaginable. What'd you do, Steven?
I said it in a nice way.
You did say it in a nice way.
I said, "Do you mind leaving so we can get a new tank?"
Because this happened before, where it was with the archer. Finally, that archer left because we kept losing, and then we got because it was the same tank. No.
This was in another dungeon. Some people left, and me and you stayed, and down to boss by ourselves. Thank you very much. Just me and Dustin.
No, there was one time where somebody left, and then it found another person to bring in.
Yeah, it'll do that in dungeons, but it didn't do it for
the Ifrit. But it didn't do it. It didn't do it for Ifrit. So we thought we could ask this guy to leave, and then it'd find us someone else to play. And finally, he just left because he was sick of us.
He left in the middle of a fight, during a fight, by the way.
Yeah. And
which I would have too if someone told me to leave. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave right in the middle of the fight.
So we're just standing there, we died, we were respawn. We're just kind of standing there waiting to see if somebody finally gets brought in. Of course, no one got brought in, so we all quit. But it was, I mean, that was a level of frustration that I rarely get in a game. Where
Yeah.
because eventually, like if I'm playing a game and it's challenging, it's all my fault. You know, if I can't get past something, it's my fault. I'm doing something wrong. But when you play like an MMO, you're relying on somebody else to do their job in a battle. And
Yeah.
like it got so bad that the Lancer was tanky
Yeah.
once, you know, and a Lancer is not built to do that.
Nope.
And he would get hit like one hit, and it's like he's almost dead. So I have to heal him, and then the tank would draw aggro back, get hit because he's so squishy. It'd be like it was way too much for me to handle, especially with the spells I have at that level.
Yeah. But with and also as I expected us to die a couple times during that fight just because we're learning the fight. I didn't know it was going to be that hard so early on though for a boss fight because it's pretty challenging.
Yeah.
But after a few wipes, you know, you figured you learn like I don't know what the tank spells are. If he has a like a move that buffs his defense for about 20 seconds or something, you would learn like when to start timing that stuff. You'd think like after
Yeah.
that when that second phase starts and that hellfire comes up, he should know. Let me time out this move so I know I have it for this part.
Well,
And it
that's the
just
thing
didn't seem
too.
like he was doing that.
Like you should have potions, high potions,
Yeah.
on your hotbar, and he didn't have any way of healing himself. It didn't seem like. And there was a couple times where, like there was one times we were with that mage that was also obviously had some levels in Conjurer to get Cure, and the mage was doing some healing too.
Hmm.
So you know it's kind of weird that that tank. I mean, obviously he just doesn't know what he's doing quite yet, but maybe he wasn't prepared for it to be that hard as well. But
Yeah.
you think after a while you would think, oh, I need to put some.
Which is a thing I think like we realized too, like, okay, this probably was his first time. He could have been like 13 years old learning how to play this game and stuff, and we're yelling at him through the screen. But when you waste like that long of your evening trying to do something, you just start getting irritated
Yeah.
at things, and so this game can do that to you. It's there, but it's still fun. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Which we jumped way ahead of ourselves with letting people know because you said hotbar. And me and Dustin are both playing on PS3 console, and I think that was another big seller for us. Like
Yeah.
Dustin didn't have to build a PC to play a game. He didn't have to play a mouse and keyboard. I've done it, so I'm used to that. But having a console MMO, I was excited about experiencing a console MMO. And I think the controls, for the most part, other than I'll let Dustin tell you his issues with targeting
Oh God.
sometimes, but targeting seems to be the one problem right now with the controller. But other than that, I mean, the way it's mapped out, you just hold down R2 and you have the directional pad and the face buttons all. That's 8 attacks you have mapped out. You can hit L2, that's 8 more. So
And then on
I
top of
think it's
that, you can press R1 or L1 and
uh,
switch to different hotbars.
to different sets of hotbars. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so many things you can map out to this hotbar. It's insane. And I think the controls work pretty great.
Yeah, I think they're. I mean, I think they're really good, except for the targeting thing, which hopefully, I don't know. I don't know how well they can patch that or fix it, but
And what we mean by that is we can be facing an enemy. Like we know this is what we want to attack. And for some unknown reason, an enemy that could be across in the distance will get targeted somehow.
yeah,
And then we pull something we're not supposed to, and it gets a little frustrating. It's probably I think it's easier with Dustin when we're in dungeons healing because he can select people a little bit
right,
easier.
yeah,
But man, when we're fighting things, I myself have problems switching to targets. Sometimes when I'm going to get on a target, I'm selecting a friendly person instead, and I'm having to back off of them and try to get the target again. It can get a little frustrating there, but for the most part, like we said, I think the controls were good. If you're used to any type of action RPG, it just kind of feels like that. You got cooldown weapons, like Dragon Age 2 or Origins. It's pretty much what it feels like to me.
There was
Combat and stuff.
that one time tonight where I was trying to help you out fight something, and the camera was pointing towards you in the fight, and I pressed the X button to target what was in front of me, and all of a sudden this Ked trap came up on my screen, and you weren't fighting a Ked trap, and I was like,
No.
"Where's this Ked trap at?" So I turned the camera around, and the Ked trap was behind me in the distance. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah,
So the targeting could use work, but Other than that, just the game seems to control fine. I really like how the environments and stuff are laid out and they looked. And we didn't mention for PS3 MMO, from the MMOs I've seen even on PC and stuff, and comparing it to the first Final Fantasy 14 for some video I've saw of that, I think this game looks beautiful. Like the dungeons and stuff we've seen so far, Ifrit, the fight with him, like the way he's fighting and stuff, he looks awesome. I think it's a good looking game.
I do too. I mean, I'm not a big graphics whore
Yeah.
anyway, but it definitely has a nice look to it. I mean, it does look sort of simpler than like say Tales of Exilia or Final Fantasy 13, but then you take in the breadth and the scope of the game. And it's kind of like Xenoblade in a way. Like, yeah, the textures aren't as good and it's not HD, but then you look at how big the environments are and you're like, oh shit, you know.
There were just there's these things in the game called fates. That's another way to level up, where just in these spots, random spots on the map, you can go into this fate, and it can be you and an infinite number of people who want to come to it, all fighting these certain. It could be a group of enemies you're fighting, or just one big boss that you're all fighting to try to get down. And once you complete it, you earn experience. And I know there's been times where we've been in a fate where there's at least 30 or more players in there
Yeah.
with us. And it seems like the game's moving fine. I didn't see any slowdown or chugging on my end, at least. I know if you're looking at other players, sometimes they hop across the screen and stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's spells are going off everywhere, and it just looks insane, all the chaos going on. And surprising enough, it can handle it, so it's pretty cool. And these boss fights and dungeons and stuff, I just think I know when we get later on to some very the end of the game stuff, that's just going to be crazy things going
Yeah.
on, and I'm looking forward to getting down into it. So I don't know, is there anything else you want to care to share about the game, or we're trying to think of any other good points we have?
Yeah, I don't know if I can accurately like. It just feels like I'm not like giving like the size of the game its fair shake. Like this
Oh
is
yeah, there's
a huge game. Like I've never played a game this big before in my life.
if any other original 14 players, apparently it was just like narrow corridors you're walking down through. In this game, it's just open map. You go where you're hopefully you kind of know where to go because you'll see some quest markers being like, oh, maybe this is where we need to go next to pick up new quests. But you can go wander off, and you know what? You might be level 15 walking into a zone of level 35s, and
Yeah.
you might find out the hard way you're not supposed to be there, and that's how you find out.
That's kind of the good thing too, is that it's kind of like Xenoblade in a way where things won't attack unless you attack them.
Yeah.
I really think like Xenoblade really helped me transition into this game a lot
You
because
know what? It probably did. You're
yeah,
right. Kind of
because
is set up like Xenoblade, where you got the big, huge map. Then you
yeah,
just walk through another, like a loading screen to another zone. That's kind
well,
of how this is set up.
even the way you do, ooh,
Fast travel.
well, no, okay, it went away. I was getting an echo.
Oh,
Yeah, even the way you do like your attacks in Xenoblade, it's kind of like a hot bar. You know what I mean?
hmm
So I mean, it
yeah.
just everything got really yeah.
And for anyone who's used to like World of Warcraft or something, I know in WoW you have talent trees and talent builds. That's another thing I think this game does great in that you don't really have to think about what do I want to invest my skill points and stuff in. The game does it for you. When you reach certain levels, you'll unlock a new move, and it's your move to keep. If you want to use it, you can use it. You don't have to. And I know it does a good thing in where certain abilities you already have, it actually makes them stronger and levels them up. Like I'm almost level 24. I really want to hit that because I have a poison shot that I can shoot. Once I hit 24, that gets up to level 2. So it's stronger, lasts longer. Dustin as a healer, he's going to unlock stronger healing abilities that level up his healing abilities. So it makes it really simple in the skills and abilities you get because there, I think in total, you're only going to get about 16 that'll map out a perfect like face screen, all the buttons, but you're not going to be using them all. So there's going to be a certain like for DPS or there's going to be a certain rotation you're just going to rotate around. But I think it's pretty simple and I like how they laid it
Yeah.
out. And I know Dustin doesn't have too much to compare it to, but from other games that I've played, this is by far one of the easiest, simplest systems that I liked because it's you can't
Yeah.
do anything wrong. It seems like so far you can't do nothing wrong. at
once you
least
get
while we're leveling up.
once you get over that initial curve, yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It's simple, but it's not like dumb. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's just easy to pick up and play, but there's still a lot of depth and challenge to it.
Yeah, I would recommend this to if you're a newcomer to MMOs, I would highly recommend this game to trying to get into it because the game does a good job of teaching you everything while letting you level up and experience things like dungeons. The dungeon finder goes really fast if you're the right class. You level up. We went through the first, I think, 20 levels really quick
Yeah,
until we started picking up the main storyline quest. Has you traveling a lot around our level, going to different areas and cities, but I think it's on purpose so you can see these areas and say, "Hey, you can come here if you want later
yeah.
on." So it's been flying by, and I don't know how much time we've invested into it. What would you say? We probably at least 20 hours so
I
far
would say
between
so
us.
far probably about 20 hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll have to
but
look for a
it's
counter somewhere.
yeah, I've been trying to find one and can't find it, but I've enjoyed every moment of it that I've been in there, especially getting into the dungeons. And if you can play with a friend, I highly recommend it. It's so much funner being on Skype, talking with like Dustin and playing this game than
Yeah.
when I'm sitting here playing it alone. And I know we're trying to get Movie Star Kitten in there. She has the game as another party member or anyone else, but anyone out there, if you're interested and if there is room, come on into Japanese Ultima and have some fun with it because it's a blast.
I think that's really what's selling me on it now because I think if like because you were kind of talking about backing out on it,
Yeah.
and I think if you did that, I probably wouldn't have got it either because it's a fun game, but for me, I kind of need somebody there that I know and I can talk to because
Yeah, you want to talk
yeah,
about it with someone. It's
yeah. So
it's like you don't want to be the one person in the chat talking about like, hey, but
because then it really does sound like a drug addiction.
yeah.
I
But and speaking of addiction, I would say I think me and Dustin do a good job at
think we're doing a good job
spreading
there.
out
Yeah.
when we play it. We had that long stretch the other night because we hadn't played it that often the past week, so we had that good run that night. We didn't even touch it yesterday.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we do a good job at not getting hooked on it.
Yeah, as long as I think as long as we maintain that thing of having a couple of days off, and it's not every night.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
But it is one of those games you could just like pick up
yeah.
for an hour and do some levels, do some quests. It's so easy to get in there and just play some, but then it's easy to be like it'll be 3 hours later and you only want to play for an hour.
Yeah, because I didn't think that. Oh my god, that's so annoying. I'm
I
getting like
think
a echo thing.
another Echo.
Yeah, but I didn't think that Ifrit fight was like 3 hours.
It was pretty long, and even tonight I think we hopped on around 6:15 ish, and
Got a
then it
got
was already 8 o'clock. So
yeah.
it happened. So if any of that's all I can really think about to say of this game, except just play it. It's beautiful. I don't really know what even the subscription cost is for it right now. Is it
I
$12.99?
think it's 12.95. Yeah,
$12.95 a month, which we haven't had to pay yet, and you get the trial with it.
you get
And
supposedly get 30 days
yeah,
free when you buy it. So
but it's been time well spent so far. So
and
I've really
apparently
enjoyed.
there's an upgrade. Isn't there some kind of upgrade plan for when people get PS4?
I don't know. I know they're doing things with systems where if you already own a game, you can buy it at a cheaper rate digitally.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to carry out. I would say if they're going to do it with Sony products, then they'd probably do it with Final Fantasy 14 as well.
yeah,
But like we've had the only problems we've had, like we were saying at the beginning, we touch on is servers. The game is so popular that it had to shut down its server, the digital cells, because it couldn't hold enough people on their servers. Basically, too many people have the game, and there ain't enough room for us to play it. There ain't enough seats on the plane for all of us to get on board.
they were in no way
They weren't expecting
anticipating,
it.
yeah, that kind of a response to it. So I mean, it's good, but it's also bad because it's like people
Yeah,
can't buy it now. But
and
hopefully after tonight, they'll be a lot easier to get into and play.
yeah, apparently they're working on a big patch till the wee hours in the morning, fixing all these issues so new players can come in without a hassle. I know there've been a few times where we've tried to log in on our characters and it'll say the world is full still, and we put in a queue. Other times we can't even access the world because of some problems. But hopefully all that'll get straightened out and new players can come in. Because I know the first day I got it, I tried to make a character on a server Dustin couldn't even get on that world. It was already gone. Like all the worlds were almost gone day one. Only thing open were Japanese. And luckily we picked on that quick enough so we could actually get in there and experience the game. So
And that's why our server's about 75% North American people.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
European, I don't know. English
I say
speaking
don't be
folk.
worried about it. Yeah, if you're worried about joining this Japanese server, don't worry because it's all English speaking folk pretty much.
Very rarely do you see Japanese go across in the chat.
But yeah, it's awesome. That's all I can say about it right now is that it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun. So
it is a lot of fun. So, like Steven said, if you want to join us, we are on the Japanese Ultima server. But if you
I
can't get in there, then definitely get on where you can and
yeah.
have a blast with it.
If you do come, I am Cora Constantine, the archer, on the server. Dustin's is harder to spell and explain, so just send
My,
us a teller invite and
yeah,
we'll tell you about it. Send us a message on YouTube or something. But I guess that's about it. It's supposed to be a mini-sode, and I think
we're at 48 minutes, so that's about perfect for a minisode.
50 minutes is a good time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, if you want, come on play with us. But if you got any questions, I'll leave it in the comments. We'll try to answer. I know we've had fun. We got a lot of stories we can tell about this game, but we don't get into it. I guess the Ifrit stuff was enough.
Yeah.
But any other questions on any technical babble, just put it in there that you don't think we mentioned. Like we're not experts in any classes at all. We're just playing a healer and an archer right now. And we're only in our 20s. So that's all we know.
Yep.
But we're learning as we go along. And hey, maybe later on down the road when we get like a little bit higher level and stuff, we'll update you guys on how we're going and how it's going in the game. That'd be pretty cool. So, guess that's about it. Let's say goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye.